Hi, my name is Renee Bradford, and I am here with Tom Culham. And today we'll have a genuine discussion about spirituality and also religion. I want to give Tom an opportunity to introduce himself and this exciting new role that he has in academia. Tom, the mic is yours.
Thank you, Renee. It's a pleasure to be here today. I started out life as an engineer and worked in management for almost 30 years and 27 years. And then I went back to school and did a PhD in philosophy of education, which was obviously a real shift from what I was doing before. You might say moved from the left hemisphere to the right hemisphere of our brain, my brain anyway. And I'm really happy to be was nominated and elected as the chair of the Management, Spirituality, and Religion Division of the Academy of Management. And that the Academy of Management is a very large organization that addresses issues of interest for faculty and generally in business schools and and practitioners in the field of management. Management, spirituality, and religion as a division is really focused on looking at the flourishing of humans in terms of their consciousness and supporting that by working with spirituality and rigorous research. So that's the idea behind what we're doing. We're trying to bring spirituality and religion into a conversation with management research. Um, we have three objectives or three goals. One is to develop the quality of research in spirituality and religion as it relates to management. The next is to develop in the academic community. And the third is to pursue partnerships with those in the academic community and those out in the community so that what our work becomes more practical and applied in the world. That's about
Oh,
where I'm at. Yeah.
oh, that's great. And thank you for that wonderful introduction. And I'm just curious because in academia, we're trained in language, we're trained in math and exposition. And so how do we stay connected with the wellspring of lived spiritual experiences?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think one of the emphasis I know, of course, notice trained as an engineer and then working in academia, these areas is language, exposition, formulas, thinking, that sort of thing. And so we're pulled in that direction. And that's an external direction, meaning outside of us. We learn by learning about other things. We describe other things. We create formulas to describe other things. And we do this at the expense of our own internal knowledge. So I think one of the most important things that we can do is help our students learn to look inside, to see themselves, to know themselves through, and it doesn't have to be a spiritual experience, just the fact of paying attention to your inner experience is very important and very helpful. And that's something that's not honored in the traditional scientific world. It's seen as subjective and hard to get a handle on and not worth worrying about. But we as human beings, that's where we live. We
Yeah.
live in our own experience, and that's diminished in this scientific view of the world. So I think that's one of the most important things that we can do to help people find meaning, find better connection with themselves and others is to shift the education so that it's about learning about who you are through paying attention to your internal experience. There's a lot more to it than I'm explaining here, but that would be the first shift that I would say is really important.
Oh, that's powerful, Tom. And thank you so much for that. And this notion of what spirituality looks like for scholars, I'm curious, and I'm wondering if our listeners are curious, what that looks like, especially in high pressure academic environments. What's your take on that?
My take on it is no matter where we are, no matter our life circumstances, we are under some kind of pressure. Whether it's in a family situation where you have three children and you got two parents trying to earn an income and in a really volatile world, an economic environment. I think one of the most important things and valuable things is to have that grounding of a connection with a higher power. And even if you don't believe in that, it's a second best would be to have a connection with your inner world and be able to be present with the ups and downs of your inner world without getting upset about it. So this idea of being present with both negative and positive emotions, I think is a very powerful thing that we can teach our students and learn to understand the power and value of that. And there's quite a bit of research on this now. The idea is if you're numbing all the negative experiences, denying their existence, you numb joy, you numb happiness. And it is a natural desire to avoid and push out negative emotional experiences, but we're doing great disservice to ourselves when we do that. So I think one of the most important things we can do is learn to be with all the range of emotions we have and not allow them to disturb us. Now, that's a really high bar, but even the attempt to do that has great benefits outside of just the few minutes you might be doing that kind of meditative or contemplative exercise.
Yeah, thank you, Tom. Wow. And the boundaries, what are your personal rhythms? What are the ways in which you've helped to maintain your own interior life as a scholar leader?
Well, I have a practice for sure. And I started out, I grew up in the Christian tradition, and I have to acknowledge that I was not happy with it. And I'm not going to explain why, but I was not happy with it. But that led me to explore Eastern traditions, Asian traditions, and I started out doing Vipassana meditation and then went into Qigong, which is a Chinese non-moving contemplative practice. Interestingly, after doing those things for many years, I came back to Christianity, not in a different way. I understand it differently than I did when I was young, and perhaps in a much more holistic way than I did then. So I meditate every day. It's important, and it has really helped me. It helps me deal with these kind of things you're taught, the pressure. You know, something's happening at work and somebody's really upset, or you have a student who's really upset and wants a higher mark, and they don't. It's not justified. Just having this ability to kind of distance myself from what seems like an attack maybe from a colleague or whatever is really helpful. It helps me be able to deal with the situation in a what you might call a rational way. And if I had and it doesn't mean I'm ignoring how I feel about it, but it means I am able to acknowledge what I feel and then say, okay, I can say this about this, and I'm not taking it personally. I think that's really important.
Thank you so much. This is good, Tom, and it's a great segue into community
Hmm.
and also into MSR's future. Let's talk a little bit about what's the heart of MSR's community, and what do members most need from one another right now?
Well, what I hear from members who are part of MSR is they feel like they're in a family. So I think this is connection, connection with like-minded people who are pursuing, even though their paths might be very different. Some are Christian, some are Muslim, some are Buddhist, some are just plain spiritual, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. But all of the people that I talk to are on some kind of path of spiritual exploration, religious exploration and development. And they find that helpful to be in a community with others in academia who are pursuing that same goal. So what they're doing is saying, I have this as my personal life and I have a professional life, and they're finding ways to integrate that, which I think is really helpful for the individual and then perhaps helpful for others who are learning from them. Parker Palmer says, you teach who you are,
That's right.
even though you don't utter a word about your practice, and hopefully you do, but the transformation you're going through is helpful to others. So I think that's what I've noticed. I think that's the core of it. There are many other aspects. People are interested in research, people are interested in sharing their spiritual practices, those sorts of things. But I think this core of being on this path and learning yourself and hearing about how others are learning connecting with those people is very helpful.
This is great. And as we prepare to close, I have one final question for you.
Mhm.
Um, what's the one invitation that you love to extend to the scholars across AOM who care about meaning and spirit and religion in their work?
An invitation.
Yeah.
The invitation I would have, and it's the same invitation that I give to my students. If you are not engaged in this spiritual practice, then try one. Engage with it and practice it. Because what I have found is that students, if I'm bringing meditation into a business ethics class, there's a lot of skepticism, like, why would I do this? This a waste of time, all this kind of stuff. And no matter how much I talk about it, no matter how much I talk about the scientific benefits of it, because you can cite all that stuff from here to wherever, until they actually experience it, it's just talk. And I'm reminded of Vipassana saying that there are three kinds of knowledge. There's what you hear, which is kind of hearsay. Then there's your what you investigate sort of scientifically, and then there's experience. And of those three, the most powerful and the most important is personal experience. And that's what I witness in my classes. So I think being in the presence of people who are learning this, but is important, but practicing on your own path and dedicating yourself to a path is really important.
Ah, thank you so much. And for anyone who's listening, this is Tom Culham. I'm Renee Bradford, and it's been a pleasure spending this time with you today. And thank you for this invitation to share.
Thank you. I really appreciated this. This has turned out great. Thank you, Renee.